Hello all, welcome to Abhiram Ias Academy's Daily Chronicles. Today we are going to discuss some detailed analysis of articles and also some daily snippets for your prelims. Our first article is India protests China's new counties in Ladakh. This is relevant to GS2 India and its neighborhood. What has China done? So China has included two of the provinces, Heian and Heikang, in its Hotan Prefecture. So what is prefecture? It is almost equivalent to district in India. Okay, what are the administrative divisions in China? It is province, prefecture, county and then village. Just like state, district, mandal and village in India. So it has included two new counties in Hotan Prefecture, which includes our parts of Ladakh. There is another contentious issue also, that is Yarlung Tsangpo Mega Hydro Power Project, which is constructed on Brahmaputra. These two are the major contentious issues. So these are the administrative divisions we have already discussed. Province is state, prefecture is district, county is mandal and village is gram panchayat. So Hotan Prefecture lies in Aksai Chin, and the two counties that are included under this Hotan Prefecture are Heian and Heikang. Another prefecture which lies close to Aksai Chin is Angari Prefecture. So here we have Hotan and there is Angari here. Okay, this is Aksai Chin and this we have Ladakh. So what are the types of diplomatic communication? So India has registered a formal protest note, that is solemn protest, against these two counties inclusion in Hotan Prefecture. So what is solemn protest? There are different types of diplomatic communication. We can see note verbale, protest note, aidis memoirs and memoranda and treaty agreement. What is note verbale? It's basically a detailed written communication in a third party note. It's conducted usually for routine work. Okay, routine diplomatic work and communication will be done in written form through note verbale. Then there is protest note. If the country has any objections to the actions of other country, it will give a protest note, and there are various forms of protest note. So that is formal protest will be one. Our solemn protest is coming under formal protest. Then there are other types of protest notes, that is mild, strong. There is note of condemnation and also démarche. Okay, démarche is nothing but you are protesting by sending your diplomatic representative and also demanding some specific action against the issue. So that is démarche. And there are other forms, aidis memoirs. Aidis memoirs is nothing but they will keep a track of all the diplomatic communications informally. They will record them for future reference. So that is aidis memoirs. And there is memoranda and treaty and agreement. So memoranda is nothing but a detailed document on any specific issue of interest for the country, whereas treaty and agreement is if any two bilateral or multilateral agreements undertaking an issue and framing an agreement, that is called as treaty or agreement. Next, another issue is Yarlung Tsangpo, that is nothing but our Brahmaputra. The same name is in China is Yarlung Tsangpo. So what are the Brahmaputra catchment states in India? It is Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. These two are the major states, whereas Nagaland and West Bengal are minor catchment areas. So this is the flow of Brahmaputra river. Okay, next. What does Minister of External Affairs say regarding this? It always maintained that we oppose these kind of illegal occupations by China. We never accepted them. So it urged Chinese to ensure there is no harm to the lower riparian areas. Next, what are the international guidelines regarding the transboundary waters in international arena? So if two nations share any cross-border water or rivers, they are usually governed by these rules. However, they are non-binding, and two major guidelines are Helsinki Rules of 1966. They have given the principle of equitable and reasonable use under Helsinki Rules, and we have another, that is UN Convention on Law of Non-Navigational Uses for Transboundary or International Watercourses. This came in 1997. So what are the principles under this one? Equitable water sharing and also prevention of harm to the co-riparian states. Okay, these two are the principles under this convention. However, India did not ratify any of this. It maintains all these principles in its agreements with the bilateral countries or neighboring countries. So what are the agreements already existing now? So there is 1960 Indus Water Treaty with Pakistan regarding Indus River, and also we have Mahakali Treaty with Nepal. Nepal, we have other treaties also like Kosi Gandak Treaty, and with Bangladesh we have Indo-Ganges water sharing. Okay, that is in 1996. And there can be, instead of treaties and agreements, there can also be a broader framework, okay, where we can frame all the rules adhering to the principles in the framework. One such one is Mekong-Ganga Cooperation Framework, which is mainly for sustainable and integrated development of the catchment areas of the Mekong and Ganga rivers. Next article is Data Protection Act. So government has notified rules under this act of 2023. Okay. The ministry notifies draft rules and seeks feedback. So you can find this article in page 11. And this is relevant to our GS2 topic, Indian Constitution Provisions, Fundamental Rights. It comes under right to privacy, and it's also relevant to the freedom of speech, article 19. So right to privacy. There are three major articles relevant here. One is article 21, that is right to life, under which we have right to privacy also. Okay, this is by 2017 KS Puttaswamy case. And another one is article 19, freedom of speech. Okay. Under this we have protection of data and communication. These two come under article 19. And there is indirectly article 14 also, prevention of discrimination in privacy issues. Next, draft rules were notified. It is mainly to enforce the Digital Personal Data Protection Act of 2023, and it is a legal framework to protect the data from any misuse. So this law is about protecting the data from any misuse. There are some key terms, and let us understand their definitions. There is personal data and data fiduciary, data principal, and consent manager. So who are they and what are their definitions? Personal data. So any individual's data which will help in identifying him either indirectly or directly, that is called as personal data. Whereas the persons whose data we are taking is called as data principal and data fiduciaries. Who are the data fiduciaries? They are the ones who collect and process your data, and they have to oblige to some rules. Okay, and there are consent managers apart from these two. Consent managers are nothing but they collect the consent, they provide a platform for management of the consent, like you can withdraw the consent, you can manage, you can track the consent. All this will be done by the consent manager. So these are the entities involved. Next, what are the rights of data principal? So I am a data principal, I am a citizen, my data is taken by some organization. So I will have some rights. They are access and right to correction and erasure. Then we have right to data portability, right to grievance redressal, and also the right to withdraw the consent. So what is right to access? My data is taken by someone, I can access it anytime. So that is right to access. And right to correction and erasure. So if my data is false and it needs some correction, I can do that. And also if I don't want the organization to have any data, I can erase it also. That is also my right. Data portability. What is data portability? So one organization has taken your data, but you want to transfer it to some other one. So then you can have portability of the data. That is right to data portability. And then if you are not satisfied with the management of your data, if you have any doubts on the misuse of the data, you can complain it to some authority. That is right to grievance redressal. Another right is withdrawing consent. So anytime you think that data is misused or you want to withdraw the consent, you can withdraw it anytime. So these are the rights of the data principal. Then what are the duties of the data principal? Along with the rights, there are also some duties, like I should not give any false information, I should not impersonate someone, and I should not lodge any false complaints. So these are the duties of a data principal. Okay. Avoid impersonation, give accurate data, and no false complaints. Next, obligations of data fiduciaries. So data fiduciaries are the ones who process your data, they take your data and they use your data. So they have to oblige to some conditions given in this law. What are they? Consent. First of all, you have to give the consent to the data fiduciary if they want to use your data. And also there are other things like purpose limitation. the data should be taken only for the purpose which is intended or communicated to you. So there is data minimization. So whatever the data is needed, only those data should be collected and not in excess. Any unnecessary excess data should not be collected. That is also data fiduciary's obligation. Then we have data security. All the data they have collected should be secured in a safe place, and there should not be any breaches also. So they should safeguard them, and if there are any breaches, they should report. That is also an obligation. And then we have data retention. What is data retention? Data retention is the data fiduciary cannot use your data for longer period or excess period apart from the one they mentioned to you. So they have to stick to the data retention timing also, only for a specified time. What is significant data fiduciary? So some data fiduciaries are so big, they manage lot of large scale sensitive data. They have extra obligations also and extra institutional framework. One is DPO, that is Data Protection Officer, and another is they have to conduct periodic assessments regularly if they are following the law or not. So they have to conduct periodic assessments, and also they have to conduct regular audits also, regular independent audits. What are the exemptions? There are exemptions to government and other entities also. So government can have exemptions in some cases like nation security, public order and prevention of crime. Next, other exemptions are, if you are a journalist, you want some data, you can take it without any consent. And researcher also can have exemption, and any kind of statistical report making, any kind of statistical purpose, you can have exemptions. Next, if there is any violation, there will be hefty penalties. Like if there is any breach, or if there is any failure to protect the data and failure to inform about the breach, you will be levied 50 crore penalty. But the one who actually does the data breach is heftily penalized, that is 250 crore for data breach. So these are the penalties. Next, there are other provisions of also in this act, that is Data Protection Board of India. This is the institution that is enforcing this act. Okay, and another provision is regarding cross-border data transfers. If you have to transfer your data to some other country, the government of India has to be satisfied that country's data safeguards are sufficient. So then it can authorize the data transfer. So that's why we have cross-border data transfers provision also. Then whether it is applicable to online only? No. Even if the data is collected offline but used for online processing, that is also under the scope of this law. However, there are some criticisms. So what are the criticisms? Excess exemptions. Too many exemptions defy the purpose of the act, and independence of the data protection board is doubtful because it is government appointment body. So when do we say an organization or a body is independent? It should have some provisions, like a neutral panel should appoint it or select it, or it should have a secure tenure. Okay, it should have a secure tenure, and the grounds of removal should be mentioned, and only on those grounds they should be removed, not on the other grounds. So all such provisions are not there. They only say there is an independent data protection board. So this is one criticism. Another criticism is criteria for cross-border transfer is not clear. They have just mentioned that they can be cross-border transfers if the government is satisfied about the data safety framework of the other country, but they did not specify under what criteria. Next article, exporters are unsure of the RODTEP benefits. So remission of duties and taxes for exports. This is relevant to GS3, Indian economy and its effects of liberalization, globalization, WTO, all these topics. It's important even for the prelims. So what is remission of duties and taxes on exported products? So this is the full form. It was launched in 2021 and it is replacing the MEIS, that is Merchandise Exports from India scheme. And so why was it removed? Why was it replaced by this act? So earlier we used to have MEIS, that is Merchandise Exports from India scheme. But however, it has problem with the WTO rules under ASCM, that is Agreement on Subsidies and Countervailing Measures. So what is this agreement? This agreement is about export subsidies. It doesn't allow such export subsidies directly because it will distort the international trade. But India has crossed this threshold in 2017. So US lodged a complaint at WTO. So it has also won the case in 2017. So we have come up with RODTEP, there is remission of duties and taxes of exports in 2019. So that's why we have replaced this. It will benefit both the manufacturers and exporters, and both small scale and large scale exporters. ASCM, that is Agreement on Subsidies and Countervailing Measures. Export subsidies are not permitted for countries with more than 1000 per capita GNI. And 2017 India has crossed this limit. So 2019 law, US has won a case against India also. That's why we have replaced the scheme. So merchandise exports from India scheme. So this scheme is nothing but it will subsidize some exports percentage of value or volume for free on board goods. What is free on board? So if a seller or manufacturer onboards his goods onto the vessel, he is free from any obligation. What are the problems? So there will be unfair advantage to the locals and distortion of the global trade. So that's why WTO is opposing this. Then it will also lead to retaliation by others also, because they can also impose restrictions or sanctions on you through countervailing measures. So it will create the trade dispute. That's why this is not preferred, and as per the WTO, these are prohibited. So it will lead to trade disputes, there will be retaliation by others, so it is not preferred. And also it compromises on the cost neutrality. Cost neutrality is nothing but all the costs that are hidden within the goods. So for a domestic good, it can be levied various taxes like VAT, sales, okay, or GST like this. So all these indirect taxes can be levied on the goods, but there is a problem. It will hike the prices when it crosses the border unnecessarily. It doesn't reflect the true cost of the actual good. So that's why exporters are at a disadvantage in the price competition at the international border, because it is artificially hiked by all these indirect taxes. So it is a problem for both exporters, and it doesn't satisfy the WTO rules also. So that's why we have remission. Okay, remission of these all indirect taxes through this scheme. So all such indirect hidden taxes can be reimbursed to them through this scheme. So then there will be neutrality at of the cost. So that is called as cost neutrality. So this scheme will rebate only the indirect taxes that are not refunded by any other scheme. And domestic taxes will cause artificial price rise before exporting. And it will also satisfy the cost neutrality principle, and which includes the hidden taxes. So it will ensure there is a level playing field and encourage the exporters also, which is a win-win for both WTO and our exporters. But what does the article say? This has expired on December 31st, 2024, and government has not specified whether it is extended or not. Now exporters are in dilemma what to do. So that is the article. Next, daily snippets for your prelims. So these are small facts which can be important for your prelims. Revamped banknet to aid one-stop property e-auction. So all the PSBs properties will be there. So all of them can be auctioned online. It will improve the transparency and also help in accurate price discovery. It is a one-stop property e-auction platform, and all the PSBs properties are included in this. Next, senior bureaucrat Faiz Ahmed Kidwai is the new Chief of Director General of Civil Aviation. He is replacing Vikram Dutt. ACC, Appointments Committee of Cabinet, will approve first, and then only all such appointments will take place. Next, French aircraft carrier have Goa and Kochi stopovers. So French aircraft carrier, this is the French aircraft carrier. It has a stopover at Goa and Kochi. So in this article, they have discussed about the exercises between India and France. What are they? So Shakti, land. So Varuna is on water, not land. And then we have Garuda. Garuda is air. So French aircraft carrier is Charles de Gaulle. Next, Amit Shah reviews the infrastructure development in islands. So this is the article. So he is the head of the Island Development Agency. What is Island Development Agency? Any development related to the islands like Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep will be under this Island Development Agency for integrated and sustainable development. So the chairman is Home Minister for this. It also comes under direct oversight of PMO, Prime Minister's Office also, which will be deciding all the policies and decisions of this body. So it is for integrated socio-economic development of the islands, Andaman and Nicobar and Lakshadweep. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you like it. Please subscribe to Abhiram Ias Academy.